This is the true account of what my best friend and I witnessed in the summer of 2003, in the early morning hours around 3 a.m. What we both experienced was terrifying and unexplainable. The image of the creature chiseled into my memory. We wanted to forget, but we can't forget what lives in the shadows of our nightmares. It was one of those Florida nights that felt like the whole world had been wrapped in wet wool. Muggy, humid, the air hung thick and warm even at 3 in the morning, the kind of air that makes the crickets sound like they're arguing with each other. I was maybe 11 or 12 years old enough to know better, young enough not to care about anything other than hanging out with my friends. I rode my bike over to my best friend George's house. We did the usual play outside, ride our bikes, play video games. As night arrived, I didn't want it to end, so I decided to ask his mom if I could spend the night. His mum looked at me like I was volunteering for something she already regretted. She said, "If you stay, you're getting up early." How early, I asked. 3 a.m., she said, with a look as if that would dissuade me. "I'm helping set up a surprise birthday party for a fellow church member. He works nights. He'll be home early in the morning." I shrugged. Sure, why not? It's not like I had anything better to do. We were shaken awake in the dark, bundled into the car, and dropped at the man's house where grown-ups were already moving in the kitchen, taping streamers and balloons, whispering so they wouldn't wake the neighbors. George and I got bored fast. We drifted outside to the carport, sat on the cool concrete with our backs against the wall and stared at the black road. Nothing to do, so we did what kids do. We walked. We left the driveway and followed the pavement, passing a few sleeping streets until we hit one that was actually lit well. The other streets had those yellow street lamps every 30 yards, the kind that throw long yellow pools on the asphalt. The street we turned on, however, was very well lit with white light. It felt safer than the dimly lit yellow glow of the previous streets, and much better than the dark stretches behind us, so we took a right and kept going. That was when I realized the white light wasn't coming from the street lamps. This light was bigger and brighter. I thought at first they were big stadium lights used for Friday night football, or lights you might see on a baseball diamond, only they were hanging in the sky behind somebody's house just above the roofline, like a mistake someone had left on. I remember thinking, who the hell put stadium lights in their backyard? The house itself was dark except for the glow pouring through every window, so bright it lit up the empty rooms. The house appeared vacant. As we got closer, we saw the for sale sign stuck in the front yard like a tombstone. The light was so fierce it spilled all the way out the front windows and across the grass. We were passing the mailbox when it stepped out of the shadows. It was standing there in the yard, maybe 4.5 feet tall, looking straight at us. At first I thought it was a dwarf in some kind of Halloween costume or something, but it looked too real and gave that uncanny valley feeling. I turned to my friend and asked, "What is that?" Then it moved, and the thought died in my throat. The head was too big, the skin was olive grey and bumpy, almost scale-like, almost reptilian-looking, and not quite like anything I've ever seen, like it had been dipped in wet gravel. A crest of stiff, porcupine-like spikes stuck up from the top of its skull, orange-tinted, needle-like spike protrusions out of its head, in a widow's peak shape starting at its forehead. Its eyes were huge, black, and wet. Occasionally blinking, the mouth was a perfect circle, full of tiny, sharp spokes, like the inside of a gear, almost like shark teeth. Black claws protruding from 3 fingers at the ends of its arms. I turned to my friend. My voice came out small. "Do you see that?" He didn't answer. His face had gone pale and clammy. I looked back. The thing was gone from the yard. Then it was inside the house, staring out the kitchen window, claws resting on the sill of the window, just high enough that I could see the black tips. It watched us the way a cat watches birds. It looked curious, as if it were trying to figure out if we were a threat. I turned to my friend again. "What is that?" He still didn't speak, just looked at me with eyes full of pure animal terror. When I looked back at the window, it was empty. And then somehow it was outside again, closer now, moving toward us with that slow, deliberate walk that didn't belong to any person I'd ever seen. Too fluid for a dwarf in a Halloween costume, or some elaborate Hollywood special effect makeup, the type that would make you say, "Steven Spielberg, eat your heart out." The proportions were wrong in a way that made my stomach fold in on itself. It opened that circular, sharp, teeth-filled mouth and screamed a horrible sound, more of a screech than a scream. The only thing I could compare it to is the sound of a raptor, like an eagle. And even that is like comparing a chihuahua's bark to the howl of a wolf. As soon as we heard it, instantly, we ran. I have never run like that before or since. My sneakers slapped the pavement so hard I thought my ankles would snap, or if not, my heart would explode first. I risked one glance back and saw my friend right behind me, arms pumping, face white. We didn't stop until we hit the carport 3 or 4 blocks away, lungs burning, hearts trying to punch out of our chests. For a long minute, neither of us could speak. We were so out of breath. When I finally got enough air, I asked the only thing that mattered. "Did you just see what I saw?" He looked at me, still gasping, and said, "That thing that looked like Chucky." I wanted to tell his mum. He wouldn't let me. "She's super religious," he whispered. "She'll think we're crazy or lying." So we sat there shaking, pretending everything was normal. We even tried to go inside and sit down until the grown-ups finished. We eventually ended up back at the carport. I kept saying it out loud over and over, like saying it enough times would make it true. It had to be a prank, somebody playing a joke. There's no way that was real. But I knew better, and so did he. I talked him into going back. Begged, really. This was no easy task. He refused multiple times. Asked me if I was crazy. I just kept telling him it can't be real, and I was too scared to go alone. He eventually gave in and came with me, reluctantly, feet dragging the whole way. We walked slower this time, every shadow a threat. When we reached the well-lit street, the first thing we noticed was the dark. The stadium lights were gone, the house was just a black shell again. We crept up to the mailbox. Nothing. No creature, no lights, no sign that anything had ever been there at all, as if the night had swallowed it whole. To this day, I can't explain it. What we saw, what it was, how it disappeared like that. All I know is we both saw the exact same thing, and we were both terrified in the exact same way. That terror bonded us together. It's not the kind of thing you see every day, and I've never seen anything like it since, and I hope I never do. I don't care if you believe me. I haven't told this story to make money or gain fame. It's just something that happened to 2 scared kids on a humid Florida road in the middle of the night. I still want an explanation. I still don't have one. All I have is my word, and that word has never changed.